Commander Jack Nelson stood at the viewport of the Earthship Unity, watching the stars. In 12 hours, he would meet aliens for the first time in human history. His stomach felt tight. 20 years in the Space Force had not prepared him for. "This, Commander, the Celestian ship is hailing us again," said Lieutenant Amy Davis from her station. Her voice was steady, but her eyes were wide with excitement. Jack nodded and straightened his uniform. "Put them through!" The main screen flickered to life. A tall figure with pale blue skin appeared. Its eyes were large and completely black, like pools of ink. When it spoke, its mouth barely moved. "Commander Nelson. I am First Advisor Zor. We confirm the meeting will proceed as scheduled. Our royal delegation awaits your arrival." Jack tried not to stare at the alien's strange features. "We look forward to it, First Advisor." "Earth is honored by this historic opportunity." The alien gave a small nod. Its face showed no emotion at all. "Prepare your shuttle for docking procedures at the arranged time. Zor out." The screen went dark. "Well, that was warm and fuzzy," said Chief Engineer Paul Green, who had been watching from the doorway. "Are they all that friendly?" Jack shrugged. "We're the first humans they've ever met face to face. They've been watching us for years, but this is different. They're probably just being careful." The truth was, no one knew what to expect. The Celestians had made contact 6 months ago, sending signals to Earth's major space agencies. They were an advanced species from a star system 80 light-years away. They had faster-than-light travel. They had been studying Earth. Now they wanted to meet. Jack had been chosen to lead the first contact team because of his diplomatic experience with the Mars colonies. Still, negotiating with human settlers was not the same as meeting aliens who could destroy Earth if they wanted to. "Get some rest, everyone," Jack said to his crew. "Tomorrow we make history." But Jack didn't sleep that night. He reviewed the mission briefing again and again. The Celestians were a highly advanced civilization. They had solved problems humans couldn't even understand yet. They had no crime, no war, no poverty. But they also seemed to have no art, no music, and no strong emotions. At least that's what their messages suggested. At exactly 0800 hours, Jack and his team of 5 boarded their shuttle. Besides Jack, there was Lieutenant Amy Davis, Chief Engineer Paul Green, Dr. Maria Lopez, Security Officer Ben Wilson, and Communications Specialist Sam Carter. They were the best Earth had to offer. "Remember," Jack said as their shuttle approached the massive Celestian ship, "we represent all of humanity today. Let's make a good first impression." The Celestian ship was beautiful. It looked like it was made of crystal and light with no visible engines or weapons. It was at least 20 times larger than the Unity. Their shuttle docked smoothly in a bay that seemed to appear out of nowhere in the side of the alien vessel. When the doors opened, Jack took a deep breath and led his team into history. 3 Celestians waited for them. All had the same blue skin and black eyes as First Advisor Zor, but their heights and face shapes were slightly different. They wore simple white robes with no decoration. "Welcome aboard the Stellaris," said the tallest one. "I am First Advisor Zor. This is Science Director Mev and Royal Guard Taz." Jack stepped forward. "Thank you for your welcome. I am Commander Jack Nelson of Earth, and these are my colleagues." He introduced each member of his team. "Please follow us to the meeting chamber," said Zor. "The royal delegation is waiting." They walked through corridors that seemed to be made of flowing light. There were no sharp edges anywhere, and the walls sometimes became transparent, showing the stars outside. It was like walking through a living thing rather than a ship. The meeting chamber was a large, circular room with a table in the center. Around the table sat 6 more Celestians. 5 of them looked similar to their guides, but the 6th was different. She sat at the head of the table. Her skin was a deeper blue with patterns that seemed to shift and change. Her eyes were still black, but they had flecks of silver in them. She wore a simple crown made of what looked like crystal. May the first present, Her Royal Highness, Princess Lyra of the Celestian Empire, daughter of Emperor Exer, heir to the Galactic throne, announced Zio. Jack bowed slightly, as he had been instructed. Your Highness, Earth is honored by your presence. Princess. Lyra looked at him with those strange eyes. Unlike the others whose faces remained blank, something flickered across her features, curiosity perhaps. Commander Nelson, she said. Her voice was softer than Zora's, almost musical. We have watched your world for some time. It is interesting to meet humans in person at last. We hope this meeting will be the beginning of a friendship between our worlds, Jack said. That remains to be seen, said one of the other Celestians coldly. Humans are known to be unpredictable and emotional. Jack noticed Princess Lyra watching him closely, waiting for his reaction. He kept his face calm. We are emotional beings, yes. We see that as a strength, not a weakness. A curious perspective, said Princess Lyra. To Jack's surprise, the patterns on her skin shifted slightly, becoming more purple than blue. Please be seated, we have much to discuss. The meeting lasted for hours. The Celestians asked detailed questions about Earth's governments, technologies, and resources. They showed little interest in Earth's art or culture except for Princess Lyra, who asked several questions about human music and literature. You write stories about things that never happened? She asked when Jack mentioned fiction. Yes, Your Highness. It helps us explore ideas and feelings. Feelings, she repeated, as if testing the word. You have many words for feelings in your languages. We do, Jack agreed. Emotions are an important part of human experience. As the meeting went on, Jack noticed something strange. While the other Celestians remained expressionless, Princess Lyra's skin kept changing colors slightly. When Jack mentioned poetry, the patterns on her skin burst into bright purple for just a second before returning to blue dot at the end of the meeting. As the human team prepared to return to their shuttle, Princess Lyra made an unexpected announcement. I wish Commander Nelson to serve as my personal liaison during these negotiations, she said. The other Celestians turned to her, their faces still blank but somehow radiating surprise. Your Highness, said Zora, is that necessary? Any of our diplomatic team could. I have made my decision, said Princess Lyra. Her tone was gentle but firm. Commander Nelson will return tomorrow to begin our discussions. Jack was startled but quickly recovered. I would be honored, Your Highness. As they left the chamber, Jack could feel Princess Lyra's eyes on his back. Something told him that this was not a normal diplomatic assignment. Something about Princess Lyra was different from the other Celestians. What he didn't know yet was that this assignment would change not just his life, but the future of human and Celestian relations forever. Back on the Unity, his team bombarded him with questions. Did you notice how she kept watching you? Asked Amy. And the way her skin changed colors? Added Sam. Jack nodded. There's something different about the princess. She seems more alive than the others. B. Careful, Jack, warned Maria. We don't understand their culture or biology yet. Don't read human emotions into alien behavior. I know, Jack said, but I can't help feeling there's more to Princess Lyra than meets the eye. That night, Jack dreamed of black eyes with silver flecks and skin that changed colors like a living rainbow. In his dream, Princess Lyra was trying to tell him something important, but he couldn't understand her words. He woke up knowing that tomorrow would bring challenges no human had ever faced before. And for some reason he couldn't explain, he was looking forward to seeing Princess Lyra again. For the next 3 weeks, Jack visited the Celestian ship every day. Each morning he would board his shuttle and dock with the Stellaris. Each morning, Princess Lyra would be waiting for him in what she called her study chamber. It was a round room with walls that could become transparent to show the stars. Sometimes she made the walls display images of her homeworld. A place with purple skies and floating crystal cities. Today, Princess Lyra's skin was a pale green color. Jack had begun to notice patterns. Blue seemed to be her neutral state. Purple appeared when she was curious. Green usually meant she was thinking deeply about something. Commander Nelson, she greeted him. I hope you rested well. Yes, thank you, Your Highness, Jack replied with a small bow. And please, you can call me Jack. The princess tilted her head. Jack, she repeated, as if testing the sound, that is more personal. Yes, friends often use first names with each other. Friends, she said thoughtfully. Her skin rippled with flecks of purple. Are we friends, Jack? The question caught him off guard. I'd like to think we're becoming friends, Your Highness. Then you must call me Lyra when we are alone, she said. This seems fair, Jack smiled. I'd be honored, Dyra. She watched his smile with interest. Your face changes when you do that. It means you're pleased. Yes, it's called a smile. Don't Celestians smile? Lyra shook her head. We show our feelings through our skin colors, not facial movements, but only the royal family has this ability now. Common Celestians have evolved beyond emotional displays. Evolved beyond emotions? Jack asked, surprised, or suppressed them? Lyra's skin darkened slightly. An interesting question. Our history says that emotions once caused problems for our people, wars, crimes, irrational decisions. So over many generations we bred them out, but the royal family kept them? We kept the capacity for them, she corrected. We are taught from birth to control these ... impulses. We are allowed to feel, but not to show or act on feelings. Jack frowned. That sounds lonely. Lyra's skin flashed a color he had never seen before, a deep midnight blue with silver streaks. It disappeared quickly. I have never thought of it as loneliness, she said quietly, until I met humans. She changed the subject then, asking about Earth's different cultures. Jack explained about the many countries, languages, and traditions of his home planet. Lyra listened with intense interest, especially when he talked about art and music. This music, she said. I wish to experience it, Jack thought for a moment. I could bring some recordings tomorrow. No, Lyra said. I wish to see it being made. First Advisor Zor says your ship will remain in orbit for another month. Could we visit Earth during that time? Jack was stunned. You want to go to Earth? Is that allowed? I am the princess, Lyra said simply, and this is a diplomatic mission. Learning about your culture directly would be valuable. The next day, Jack brought the request to his superiors via video call. There was a lot of discussion and concern, but eventually they agreed. Princess Lyra would be the first Celestian to set foot on Earth. 5 days later, a special shuttle carried Jack, Lyra, and 4 Celestian guards to Earth. They landed at a special facility built just for this visit. Earth's leaders had arranged a careful schedule that would show the princess the best of human culture while keeping her safe. Their first stop was the Grand Concert Hall in the city. A full orchestra was waiting to perform specially selected pieces. Jack watched Lyra carefully as they took their seats in a private box. The music began with a gentle piece by Mozart. Lyra sat very still, her skin gradually shifting from blue to a soft lavender color. When the violins reached a particularly beautiful part, Jack noticed something extraordinary. Tiny specks of gold appeared on her skin, like stars. Next came Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. During the powerful first movement, Lyra's skin turned a deep red with pulsing gold patterns. Her eyes widened and she gripped the armrests of her chair. Are you all right? Jack whispered. She nodded without looking at him. It is ... overwhelming. I feel, I don't know the word. Moved? Jack suggested. Emotional? Yes, she whispered. It creates feelings I cannot name. The final piece was a modern composition that started softly and built to a sweeping climax. As the music reached its peak, Jack glanced at Lyra and was astonished to see a tear sliding down her cheek. Her skin was now a brilliant tapestry of colors: blues, purples, golds, and greens all swirling together. You're crying, he said softly. Lyra touched the tear with her fingertip, looking at the moisture with wonder. This is crying? I was told our species lost this ability generations ago. It happens when we feel very strong emotions, Jack explained. Sometimes sadness, sometimes joy, sometimes when we're deeply moved by beauty. Which am I feeling? She asked, her voice trembling slightly. Jack smiled gently. Only you can answer that, Lyra. After the concert, they walked in the gardens outside the hall. The Celestian guards kept a respectful distance, but Jack could tell they were disturbed by the princess's emotional display. Lyra herself seemed both shaken and exhilarated. "On my world," she said, "showing such emotion would be considered shameful for a royal. We are taught that feelings cloud judgment." "And what do you think?" Jack asked. Lyra looked up at the Earth's moon, visible in the evening sky. "I think, I have been missing something important. All my life I have felt things I could not express. Today, for the first time, I let those feelings exist without fighting them. Was it worth it?" She turned to him, and for a moment Jack thought he saw the beginning of a smile on her face. It wasn't quite there, as if she didn't know how to form the expression, but her eyes brightened. "Yes," she said, "but I fear the consequences." "What consequences?" Lyra's skin darkened. "My father, the Emperor, receives daily reports about me. If he learns how affected I am by human culture, he may end this diplomatic mission." Jack felt a strange tightness in his chest at the thought of Lyra leaving. In just a few weeks he had grown to care deeply about this alien princess who was discovering emotions for the first time. "Then we'll be careful," he said. "But I won't let them take this away from you." Lyra's skin flickered with gold spots. "Again, why would you risk your mission for my feelings?" Jack wasn't sure how to answer. He just knew that seeing Lyra experience music, art, and emotion was becoming more important to him than diplomatic success. "Because," he said finally, "I think your feelings matter. And I think the connection between our worlds will be stronger if both sides understand each other's hearts, not just each other's technology." Lyra was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, "I would like to learn more about this human concept." "Of heart, I'll teach you," Jack promised. "For as long as you're here." What neither of them knew was that the Emperor had already received reports about his daughter's concerning behavior, and he was not pleased. 3 months had passed since the first meeting with the Celestians. Earth was buzzing with excitement about the alien visitors. News channels showed pictures of Princess Lyra visiting museums, gardens, and concerts. People loved how her skin changed colors when she saw beautiful things. Some children even painted their faces to look like her. Jack and Lyra had grown closer each day. He had shown her oceans and mountains, let her taste ice cream and chocolate, and introduced her to dogs and cats. Each new experience seemed to awaken something in her. Her skin colors became more vivid, and sometimes she almost smiled. Today they were walking in a quiet forest. Lyra loved trees. There were none on her world. She touched the rough bark with wonder. "Your planet has so much life," she said. "So many different creatures living together." "Not always peacefully," Jack admitted, "but we try." Lyra was about to respond when her guard Taz approached quickly. "Your Highness," he said stiffly, "we must return to the ship immediately. A new delegation has arrived from home." Lyra's skin paled to a light blue. "My father sent another delegation?" "Why wasn't I informed?" "The message came directly to me, Princess," said Taz, "with instructions to bring you back without delay." Jack felt uneasy. "Is something wrong?" "I don't know," Lyra said, but her skin flickered with dark blue spots, a sign of worry. Jack had learned the trip back to the Stellaris was tense and quiet. When they arrived, First Advisor Zor was waiting with 3 Celestians Jack had never seen before. They wore more elaborate robes than the others, with silver symbols on their chests. "Princess Lyra," said the tallest of the newcomers. "I am High Commander Vex, sent by Emperor Exor himself." He barely glanced at Jack. "We must speak privately." Lyra straightened her shoulders. "Commander Nelson is my liaison. He stays." High Commander Vex looked displeased but nodded. They moved to Lyra's study chamber. Once inside, Vex handed Lyra a crystal tablet. She touched it, and a message appeared. In Celestian writing. As she read, her skin turned a dull gray color that Jack had never seen before. "I see," she said finally, her voice flat. "When must I leave?" "Tomorrow," said Vex. "The Emperor is most insistent." Jack stepped forward. "What's happening?" Lyra turned to him, her face carefully blank, but her skin still that disturbing gray color. I am being recalled home to prepare for my ascension ceremony. It is ... earlier than expected. The diplomatic mission will continue without you? Jack asked, confused. Yes, said Vex before Lyra could answer. Other representatives will handle the final negotiations with Earth. Something wasn't right. Jack could feel it. May I speak with the princess alone, please? Vex started to object, but Lyra raised her hand. You may wait outside, High Commander. I will join you shortly. When the others had left, Jack turned to Lyra. What's really going on? For a moment she maintained her emotionless expression. Then her skin rippled with dark blue and black patterns, the colors of deep distress. I cannot leave, she said quietly. There is too much I haven't learned. Why? Did they move up your ceremony? Jack asked. What aren't you telling me? Lyra looked at him, her large eyes filled with a sadness he could almost feel. The truth is not pleasant, Jack. My father has been watching my behavior on Earth. He is concerned by what he sees. Concerned that you're enjoying yourself, learning about our culture? Concerned that I am becoming too emotional, she said, too human. She touched the crystal tablet again, and it displayed images of her at the concert with tears on her face, laughing when a puppy licked her hand, looking at Jack with her skin glowing purple and gold. The Celestians aren't interested in a true alliance with Earth, she explained. We think your species is too emotional, too unpredictable. The negotiations were only a formality before offering Earth a choice. What choice? Jack asked, his stomach tightening. Accept Celestian guidance, becoming a protected world under our controller face isolation from the galactic community. Jack stepped back, shocked. That's not an alliance. That's conquest. It is what we have done with 12 other worlds, Lyra said. My father believes emotion leads to conflict and war. He points to human history as proof. But emotion also leads to art, to discovery, to connection, Jack argued. Without it, what's the point of existing? Lyra's skin flashed with bright colors for a moment. That is what I have learned here. But now, ... Her voice trailed off. What will happen when you go home? Jack asked. Lyra turned away. I will be recalibrated. Recalibrated. What does that mean? It is a process for royals who show too much emotion, she said. It will ... reset me, remove these feelings I have developed. Jack felt cold all over. They're going to change who you are. Erase your emotions? It is our way, she said, though her skin betrayed her fear with dark swirls of black and blue. Jack realized with sudden clarity that he couldn't let this happen. Not just for diplomatic reasons, but because he cared about Lyra cared deeply. The thought of her losing the joy she had discovered on Earth, the ability to cry at beautiful music or laugh at a puppy's antics, was unbearable. We have to stop this, he said. How? Lyra asked. My father is the Emperor. His word is law, Jack thought quickly. What if we could convince him that emotions aren't a weakness? That they're humanity's greatest strength? He would never listen. Lyra said, he hasn't left our homeworld in 50 years. He only sees reports and data. Then we'll bring the proof to him, Jack said, an idea forming. Request an audience with your father. That is not done, Lyra said, surprised. Humans have never been allowed on the Celestian homeworld. Make it the first time, Jack urged. Tell Vex you'll go home willingly, but only if you can bring a small human delegation to demonstrate something important to your father. Lyra's skin swirled with uncertainty. What would you show him? The truth about human emotion, Jack said. Not just the wars and conflicts in our history, but what our feelings have helped us create and achieve. Lyra was quiet for a long moment. Then her skin began to glow with a soft golden light, a color Jack had come to associate with hope. It might work, she said. My father is logical above all else. If you could prove that emotions provide an evolutionary advantage, then he might reconsider both your recalibration and Earth status. Jack finished. Lyra nodded. I will speak to Vex immediately. Before she could move toward the door, Jack took her hand. It was something he had never done before. Her skin felt cool and smooth against his. Lyra, he said softly, I won't let them take away who you are, I promise. Her skin bloomed with colors he had never seen before, brilliant pinks and golds that seemed to pulse with light. She looked down at their joined hands with wonder. Why do you care so much, Jack? She asked. Jack didn't fully understand his feelings himself. He just knew that the thought of Lyra losing her emotions, losing herself, felt like losing part of his own heart. Because you matter to me, he said simply. And I think the person you're becoming deserves a chance to exist. Lyra's eyes met his, and for a brief moment the corner of her mouth twitched upward, almost a smile, but not quite there. Then we will try your plan, she said, but we must hurry. Once I return home, it may be too late. As they walked together to meet with High Commander Vex, Jack felt both terrified and determined. He had no idea if his plan would work, but he knew one thing for certain: he would do whatever it took to save Lyra's newfound emotions, even if it meant risking everything. High Commander Vex was not pleased with Princess Lyra's request. His face remained blank, but his posture became stiff. Humans on our homeworld? It is unprecedented, he said. So was my visit to Earth, Lyra countered. Father wanted me to learn about humans. Now I wish him to see what I have learned. The Emperor is very busy preparing for your ascension, Vex argued. Lyra's skin darkened with determination. Tell my father that I will return without resistance and accept my recalibration, but only after he grants this audience. It is my right as heir to make one request before ascension. Vex could not argue with royal tradition. He nodded stiffly and left to send the message to the Emperor. Jack quickly called his superiors on Earth. There was much debate about his plan. Some thought it was too dangerous. Others saw it as their only chance to prevent Earth from becoming a Celestian protectorate. Who would you take with you? Asked General Diane Foster over the video link. A small team, Jack said. Lieutenant Amy Davis, Dr. Maria Lopez, and Sam Carter. And what exactly do you plan to show the Emperor? The general asked. Jack explained his idea. It was risky, but it might work. After an hour of discussion, the general finally agreed. You have 3 days to prepare, she said. Make it count, Commander. 3 days later, Jack and his team boarded a Celestian ship with Princess Lyra and the new delegation. Lyra's skin had been a dull gray ever since the meeting with Vex. Jack worried that she was already beginning to suppress her emotions in preparation for returning home. Are you okay? He asked quietly as they settled into their quarters on the ship. I am managing my expectations, she replied. Her voice was flat, but her skin flickered briefly with blue spots sadness. Don't give up yet, Jack said. Our plan might work. Lyra looked at him. I want to believe that, Jack, but you don't know my father. The journey to the Celestian homeworld took 5 days. The humans were not allowed to see the faster-than-light technology that powered the ship, but they felt the strange sensation of slipping through space faster than should be possible on the final day. Lyra came to visit Jack in his quarters. Her skin was pale blue with only faint patterns visible. We arrive tomorrow, she said. I should prepare you for what to expect. She explained that the Celestian capital city was built entirely of living crystal that responded to the thoughts of the royal family. The Emperor's palace was at the center, floating above a lake of liquid that looked like mercury, but was actually a sophisticated computer system. The audience will be formal, she said. You must not speak until spoken to. Show no strong emotions. It will only prove my father's point about humans being unstable. I understand, Jack said, but at some point I need to be allowed to present our case. I will make sure of it, Lyra promised. Just be patient. As she turned to leave, Jack caught her hand. Lyra, whatever happens tomorrow, I want you to know that meeting you has changed me. I don't, she interrupted, her skin suddenly flashing with bright colors before she controlled it again. Please. It will only make tomorrow harder. Jack let her go, but his heart felt heavy as he watched her leave. The next morning, they arrived at the Celestian homeworld. Looking out the viewport, Jack saw a planet unlike any he had imagined. It had rings like Saturn, but they glowed with soft blue light. The planet itself was mostly purple and blue, with no visible oceans but many sparkling points that might be cities. Their ship descended toward the largest of these points, the capital city. As they got closer, Jack could see that it was indeed made of crystal structures that seemed to grow out of the ground. Some were twisted into impossible shapes. Others reached so high they disappeared into the clouds. The ship landed on a platform near the central palace. When they stepped out, Jack felt lighter than on Earth but heavier than on the ship. Our gravity is 1.2 times that of Earth, Lyra explained. You will adjust. They were escorted to the palace by guards in gleaming armor. Jack, Amy, Maria, and Sam stayed close together, trying not to stare at everything around them. They were the first humans ever to set foot on this world, but they couldn't afford to act like tourists. The palace interior was even more spectacular than the outside. The walls shifted colors as they walked past. The floor seemed solid in some places and transparent in others, showing the strange mercury-like lake below. They were led to a vast circular chamber. In the center was a raised platform with a crystal throne. Seated on it was a tall Celestian with deep blue skin and elaborate patterns that didn't change or move. He wore a crown similar to Lyra's but larger and more complex. His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Exer of the Celestian Empire, ruler of the Seven Systems, guardian of the ancient knowledge, announced a court official. Lyra stepped forward and bowed. Father, I have returned as requested. The Emperor's black eyes studied his daughter. You have delayed your return for this demonstration. Yes, Father. I believe it is important for our future relations with Earth. The Emperor turned his gaze to the humans. Speak then, humans. Show me what my daughter finds so fascinating about your species. Jack stepped forward and bowed as Lyra had taught him. Your Majesty, thank you for granting us this audience. We wish to show you why human emotions are not a weakness but our greatest strength. A bold claim, said the Emperor. Proceed. Jack nodded to Sam, who activated a small device they had brought. A holographic display appeared in the center of the chamber. These are images from our history, Jack explained. He showed footage of disaster survivors helping strangers, scientists working together to cure diseases, artists creating beautiful works. Emotion doesn't weaken us, Jack said. It binds us together, it drives us forward. The Emperor watched without reaction. Yet these same emotions led to your world wars, your acts of genocide, your environmental destruction. Yes, Jack acknowledged, we are capable of terrible things. But we learn, we grow, we forgive because of our emotions, not despite them. He showed more images people from former enemy nations now working together, environmental restoration projects, reconciliation ceremonies between groups with violent histories. The Emperor remained unmoved. Interesting, but not convincing. Your species' history is brief compared to ours. We have seen the pattern before emotional species destroy themselves eventually. Jack felt his hopes sinking. The Emperor was as rigid as Lyra had warned. He looked at her and saw her skin had turned that dull gray again. She was giving up. Suddenly, Lyra stepped forward, interrupting the presentation, a shocking breach of Celestian protocol. Father, she said, her voice wavering slightly, I have lived as you taught me without showing feeling, without questioning. But on Earth, I've experienced what we've lost. The court gasped at her outburst. The Emperor's eyes narrowed. You are proving my point about emotional contamination, daughter. No, she said firmly. I am proving that we were wrong. Our ancestors didn't evolve beyond emotions. They suppressed them out of fear. The Emperor raised his hand and guards moved toward Lyra. Jack stepped between them without thinking. Your Majesty, he said quickly. Before you silence her, look at your daughter's face. Really look at her. She's not contaminated, she's awakened. The Emperor paused, studying Lyra more carefully. For the first time, Jack saw uncertainty in his expression. What would you have me do? The Emperor asked. Abandon generations of Celestian progress because my daughter enjoyed some Earth music? Not abandon progress, Jack said. Expand it. True progress isn't about eliminating parts of ourselves, it's about understanding and mastering them. The Emperor was silent for a long moment. The entire court seemed to hold its breath. "You speak well for a human," he said finally, "but words are easy. Show me proof that these emotions truly make your species stronger." Jack realized this was the moment everything depended on. What could he possibly show that would convince the Emperor? Then he knew. It was risky, it might ruin everything. But it was the only true proof he had. He turned to Lyra, took her hands in his, and looked into her eyes. The court fell silent as Jack held Princess Lyra's hands. The guards stopped moving, waiting for the Emperor's command. Jack knew this moment would change everything for himself, for Lyra, and possibly for both their worlds. From the first day we met, Jack said softly to Lyra, but loud enough for the Emperor to hear, "I've been drawn to you. Not because you're a princess or because you're Celestian, but because of who you are, curious, brave, open to new experiences." Lyra's skin began to change, swirling with colors purple, gold, and a soft pink Jack had never seen before. "When you heard music for the first time, when you tasted ice cream, when you played with a puppy each time, I saw something beautiful happen. You didn't just observe these experiences. You felt them." The Emperor leaned forward on his throne, watching intently. "Your people believe emotions make you weak," Jack continued, "but I've seen how they've made you stronger. More alive, more yourself." Jack took a deep breath. What he was about to say could ruin everything. But it was the truth, and maybe that's what the Emperor needed to hear. "Lyra, I've fallen in love with you," he said. "I love you for the way you see the world with new eyes, the way you question everything, the way you've opened yourself to feelings your people abandoned long ago," the court gasped. Even Amy, Maria, and Sam looked shocked. Showing such personal emotion in this formal setting was exactly what Lyra had warned against. But Jack kept his eyes on Lyra. Her skin was now pulsing with light, a kaleidoscope of colors more vivid than anything he'd seen before. And then something amazing happened. Princess Lyra smiled, not the small, uncertain twitches he had seen before. This was a real smile that transformed her face completely. Her eyes brightened, and her entire being seemed to glow with joy. "I have waited my entire life to hear those words," she whispered, "though I didn't know what I was waiting for until now." The Emperor stood up suddenly. Everyone tensed. Had Jack gone too far? "Daughter," the Emperor said, his voice strangely quiet. "Your skin. I haven't seen those colors since ... He stopped, looking troubled. For the first time, Jack noticed faint patterns shifting beneath the Emperor's own skin patterns he was clearly trying to suppress. "Since Mother?" Lyra asked gently. The Emperor nodded slowly. "Before her recalibration. Before she became proper." Jack realized with sudden clarity that the Emperor had once loved Lyra's mother, truly loved her, before she underwent the same procedure that now awaited Lyra. "Father," Lyra said, still holding Jack's hands, "do you remember how it felt before you learned to control it?" "It was painful," the Emperor said. But the patterns on his skin betrayed him, flashing briefly with colors similar to Lyra's. "Yes," Lyra agreed, "but also beautiful, worth the pain." The Emperor turned away, facing the crystal wall of the chamber. For several minutes, no one spoke. The court officials looked at each other nervously. This was not how audiences with the Emperor usually went. Finally, the Emperor turned back. To everyone's shock, his skin was now showing faint but definite patterns of blue and gold emotions he had hidden for decades. "Perhaps," he said slowly, "we have been too quick to judge emotions as weakness. Perhaps there is value in what humans maintain." He looked at Jack with new interest. "You love my daughter after knowing her for only a few months." "Yes, Your Majesty," Jack said honestly. "And you would risk diplomatic incident, even your own safety, to prevent her recalibration?" Without hesitation. The Emperor was quiet again. Then he said something that stunned the entire court. "I will ... reconsider the recalibration requirement for the royal family." Lyra's skin exploded with light so bright it almost hurt to look at. "Father, do you mean it?" "It requires further study," the Emperor said carefully. But yes, I believe we may have lost something important in our evolution. He turned to his advisors. The diplomatic agreements with Earth must also be reconsidered. Perhaps a true alliance, rather than a protectorate, would be more appropriate. The court erupted in shocked whispers. This was unprecedented. First Advisor Zor stepped forward. Your Majesty, this goes against all our traditions, all our plans for Earth. Yes, the Emperor agreed. But tradition must sometimes yield to new understanding. I have seen something today that challenges our assumptions. We should examine it further before proceeding. Over the next few days, everything changed. The Emperor announced that Princess Lyra's ascension ceremony would be postponed. Instead, she would return to Earth as the official Celestian ambassador. The recalibration was suspended pending a full review of Celestian emotional suppression practices. Most importantly, the diplomatic agreement being prepared for Earth was completely rewritten. Instead of becoming a Celestian protectorate, Earth would join the Celestian alliance as an equal partner, with full rights to maintain their culture and independence. On their last night on the Celestian homeworld, Jack and Lyra stood on a crystal balcony overlooking the capital city. The twin moons cast a purple light over everything, making the crystal buildings glow. I still can't believe your father changed his mind, Jack said. Lyra smiled, something she was doing more and more often now. I think he didn't change his mind so much as remember what he once knew, before he was taught to suppress it. Do you think other Celestians will follow his example? Jack asked. Some will, Lyra said. Others will resist. Change doesn't happen quickly, especially change this fundamental. But it's a beginning. She turned to face him, her skin glowing with soft gold and pink patterns. Did you mean what you said? In the throne room? Jack smiled and took her hands. Every word. I love you, Lyra. I didn't plan it, I didn't expect it, but it happened anyway. Humans have so many words for feelings, Lyra said thoughtfully. But love seems the most important, the most powerful. It is, Jack agreed. And I think, Lyra said, her smile growing brighter, that I love you too, Jack Nelson. And I'm very glad I don't have to be recalibrated to forget that feeling. Jack laughed and pulled her closer. I'm pretty glad about that too. As they stood together under the alien moons, Jack thought about the strange path that had brought them here. A routine diplomatic mission that had changed two civilizations forever. All because one Celestian princess had been brave enough to feel, and one human had been brave enough to say those three simple words. The next morning, they boarded the ship that would take them back to Earth, as the crystalline city grew smaller. Below them, Lyra stood at Jack's side, watching her homeworld fade from view. Are you sad to leave? Jack asked. No, Lyra said, smiling again, that real, joyful smile that had once been impossible for her. I'm not leaving home. I'm going to it, with you. As the ship accelerated toward Earth, Jack thought about all the challenges that still lay ahead. There would be difficulties, misunderstandings, and obstacles to overcome. But there would also be music and laughter, ice cream and puppies, and all the other wonders he couldn't wait to share with Lyra. Most importantly, there would be love, the emotion that had proven strong enough to change not just two hearts, but two worlds. The emotion that had made an alien princess smile like she'd been waiting her whole life to feel it. I love you, Jack said again, simply because he could. Because these words now had meaning for both of them, and Princess Lyra smiled back, no longer waiting, but finally home.